Here's the rub. What's he doing? Walking while black? What's he doing wrong?
Welcome back to Cooked in Court. These are moments when the judge was not having it because the defendant got arrested for the dumbest reasons. This judge gets upset because this dude was just chilling, but the police had to find an excuse to arrest him.
Officers observed the defendant walking in the middle of the street when a sidewalk was available next to him, and the officers asked the defendant for his Texas driver's license.
Again?
Yes, Your Honor.
Jaywalking?
Yes, Your Honor.
Again?
Exactly, bro. Like, that's not a crime.
The officers discovered a warrant out for the defendant's arrest, and the officers detained the defendant and discovered a gun and 6 grams of marijuana.
Hold on. So, what, walking while...
It was walking in the middle of the
While
street.
black again? Again, jaywalking? Where?
Let me read the officer report.
It sounds like he was detained pursuant to the warrant.
But they didn't know that. I mean, it just... Unless the officer knew him, I mean...
Exactly, bro. You can't just arrest everyone and just hope that they have a warrant. Like, come on.
Yes, Your Honor. The DIMS just says the officer observed the defendant not walking or walking in the middle of the street.
So, dude, you gotta be careful in this life, man. You know? Just do the right thing. It's not hard, man. All right, I'm gonna find no probable cause, Mr. Woods.
I just hope he doesn't be stupid and doesn't end up back in court. But props to the judge for being hella fair. This judge gets upset because the defendant randomly gets searched by the police.
You're also charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. On both of those cases, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine.
2 black males walking out of Bedford Place Homeowner Association Park, which is closed after sunset. Officers made contact with the defendant and another male who advised they did not know the park was closed. Defendant kept reaching near his waistband and pocket. Officers attempted to conduct a Terry frisk on the defendant, resulting in the defendant running. Foot pursuit lasted approximately 25 to 30 yards. While running, a black handgun fell from the defendant's waist area. Defendant stated the gun belonged to his mother. Officers recovered a Glock 23, loaded with 1 bullet in the chamber and 7 in the magazine. 15 additional bullets were found inside defendant's book bag, and an extra magazine containing 18 bullets, a total of 41 bullets. The defendant is 19 years of age. He has 2023 unlawful carrying of a weapon, non-suit as a juvenile, no out-of-county.
Here's the rub. What's he doing? Walking while black? What's he doing wrong? Was he under arrest? I mean, all I see is that they go up to him and they just start searching, right?
I believe.
Walking while black. Mr. Abiola, I'd be very careful. You know, go, what you do may not end up well for you. I'm going to find no probable cause.
Look, I'm all for the judge being fair. I just have a feeling this guy might come back to court. His facial expressions just come across that he doesn't care. The defendant hides a bag in the bush with a gun inside. Does that mean that he's guilty though?
Phone call at a hotel. The hotel staff said that unidentified third party alerted them that the defendant had a weapon. The defendant was detained, and a witness told the law enforcement officers the defendant had a backpack behind a bush prior to the law enforcement officers' arrival. The backpack was recovered, and a handgun was found in the backpack. The defendant is currently 19 years old.
You like Skip. How do they know the backpack was his? What was he doing wrong?
There was a witness, Your Honor, that stated that they saw the defendant hide the backpack behind a bush, and the hotel staff was able to identify the defendant as the individual that they were told had a gun, and that's what the officer.
Was he just standing while black or something? What's he doing wrong?
Okay, look, I kind of agree, but let's think about the fact that he did have a gun in his backpack. I feel like that shouldn't go unnoticed because he might go on the streets and reoffend. We don't know what he was going to do.
They were just alerted.
No. I'm going to find no probable cause in your case, Mr. Narcisse.
Dang, I thought his name was narcissistic. Once again, the judge gets mad at the prosecutors for not detailing exactly what he gets arrested for. The police just find an excuse to arrest anyone.
An officer initiated a traffic stop in Harris County, Texas, after observing the defendant exceed a speed limit of 45 miles per hour and make unsafe lane changes. The defendant did not have his driver's license, but told the officer his name and date of birth. While the officer was running the defendant's name, he observed the defendant exit his vehicle, and the officer told the defendant to get back inside the vehicle. And the defendant responded, "Do I have to?" The officer exited the vehicle and attempted to detain the defendant. The defendant tensed up and locked his arms.
Everything is conclusory. And what has he done wrong?
You're right.
What?
With the initial lane changes, unsafe lane changes, and the exceeding the speed limit that prompted the stop. And then at that point, he was just
Stop.
Notice right there that the judge does not want him to speak just so he does not incriminate himself any further.
How exceeding speed limit? How fast was he going? I mean,
I spoke to the officer this morning, who told me that he was pacing the defendant at 54 miles per hour.
okay, in a what?
I'm sorry.
In a what? I mean, if it's on 610, he's fine, right? And then he's interference duties. What is he interfering with? What did he do wrong?
I think it was after the stop was initiated, the officer was running the plates. The defendant stepped out of his vehicle. The officer told him to get back in the vehicle. The defendant said, "Do I have to?" The officer told me that.
And that's the basis of arrest?
I swear, bro, they be nitpicking everything, trying to arrest you for stupid reasons.
you know, but you're on.
Don't. Are you losing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Exactly, bro. Be quiet. You're winning. You're cool. Chill. You're fine.
To detain him, he locked his arms and tensed up. So as he was attempting to detain,
Bro, anyone that's getting arrested is going to tense up their arms. That doesn't mean anything.
he was just a temporary detention. He was just attempting to detain him while he was trying to
What's he
investigate.
doing wrong?
He had
What's he doing wrong?
65.
No, I don't think so. You find no probable cause.